Welcome to the 1960s, the swinging 60s, sort of. The eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed that this is actually a Series 3 Jaguar E-Type, which didn't come along until 1971, but you know, let's not get bogged down in all the technicalities. The fact is, the E-Type was synonymous with the 60s, and everything in here feels like it's from the 1960s. And it's wonderful because we have rocker switches, we have dials, Smith's dials, lovely Smith's dials, and it's a complete antidote to everything that's modern and touch screen and touch sensitive, everything analog in this car. We like that. Remember to head over to PistonHeads.com after watching this video to research and buy your next car. Technically though, this isn't quite your 60s Jaguar E-Type Series 3 because it's been fully restored. Everything, nut and bolt, every bit of it gone through by, coincidentally, E-Type UK. This one is a step further from just a restored car because it's a slightly reimagined car. Now, they're not trying to reinvent the wheel, they're just trying to make it turn more smoothly. I like that. I think that's a nice way of putting it. So rather than this being fully restored back to original spec, it's had a few nice little bits and pieces added to it to make it more usable, but without ruining the ethos, the originality of the car. So to talk you through some of the changes, this Unleashed E-Type has got, instead of all that horrible, nasty 70s plastic, we've got lovely leather on the dashboard, which is beautifully stitched in that nice contrasting colour. The seats have been replaced with bespoke items that offer a lot more side support, and for someone tall like me, I can actually fit in them, which is great. There are also modern technical touches like Bluetooth and USBs, and you can have a heated front windscreen, remote central locking, a remote opening boot lid, and even soft closed doors. Now that really is a modern twist. There are also some mechanical upgrades to this car that make it feel that little bit more precise than a standard E-Type. And it has been a while since I've driven a standard E-Type. One of the first ones I drove was a 3.8 Series 1, which had no brakes, no grip, uncomfortable driving position. Lovely car, but not something you want to use every day, whereas this now feels like something you could almost use every day. The suspension, for example, has all been poly-bushed. The front torsion bars are uprated. The rear springs and dampers have all been uprated, and they're adjustable as well. So, I mean, for my taste, this car is perhaps a little bit on the firm side, but you could take that down a little bit if you wanted to. Just soften it off, which I think I would, but still keep the nice rebound there so it doesn't bounce around all over the road. The steering has been swapped from a hydraulic rack to an E-Pass rack, which sounds awful in a classic car like this, but one of the things that I always remember from driving E-Types from back in the day is the fact that the steering was so vague, just had no sensation or weight build-up or anything to it, whereas this, probably the most surprising feature of this whole car is the steering. It just goes down the road exactly where you're pointing it. I can be precise with it. I mean, obviously the car is small as well, so I can tuck it through narrow lanes and between cars, but I don't feel like I'm ever wondering or second guessing what the steering is going to do. The gearbox is all new too. It's a Tremac T5 5-speeder, but it sticks with the original gear lever and the lovely black ball gear knob perched on top. The brakes have been upgraded too, with drilled discs at the front and 4-pot calipers all round, and for a car of its blueprint firmly in the 1960s, they feel pretty good with a firm pedal action and reassuring stopping power. And there are other things that feel like they work as well, like the fact that I've been looking at the temperature gauge with a sense of fear and trepidation, but never once has it crept above about 3/4 up the gauge. That's because in the nose is a new bespoke aluminium header tank feeding a bigger radiator that's got twin electric fans keeping a healthy breeze going through its fins when you're pottering in traffic. And of course, keeping that wonderful V12 engine cool too. No longer is it 5.3 litres as it came out the factory. It's now been bored out to 6.1 litres, and the original car would have made about 272 horsepower, whereas this one is now making 400 horsepower and give or take 400 pound-foot of torque as well. And that's not just down to the enlarged capacity, but also the fact that we've got a bespoke fuel injection system here, 12 lovely, gorgeous individual throttle bodies for each of those 12 cylinders. And while those are dealing with the gases coming into the engine, the gases coming out the other side are fed through bespoke ceramic-coated 6-branch exhaust manifolds, each one leading ultimately to the classic V12 E-Type fantail finisher at the back. And the fact we've got 400 pound-foot of torque from the engine now means that, well, if I want to, I can be in third gear. Let's do this. Third gear. I'll slow it right down, 1000 RPM, pop my foot down, and off it goes. Pulls, 60. There we go. How nice is that? Oh man, the steering, I just keep going on about it. I just love it. And the car sits there through that turn, so flat. I mean, I know I'm not really pushing it that much, but for Christ's sake, it's not exactly leaning on its door handles around there. Of course, you don't have to rely on all that torque though, because you can sit there and start off in first. Oh man. Just sounds so good. I feel like I'm in some sort of time warp Le Mans race in an E-Type lightweight, peering through that narrow windscreen, chasing revs, chasing Mustangs. Just listen to it on the overrun. Oh, I don't know if you can hear that, but you want to be able to. It's just great. There will be 10 of these Unleashed cars made, and all will be based on the Series 3. Each one is lovingly created by the boys at E-Type UK, who spend a total of 4,000 hours on each one. This means, of course, that the bill at the end of it, including the donor car, will be pretty hefty. Expect something in the region of £400,000. But think about what you're getting for that. It's an E-Type that looks better, sounds better, and goes better. It's just better. But it's still an E-Type though, and that's the crucial bit. It hasn't had all the authenticity sucked out of it. And what a magnificent car to spend a day with, or, if you're the lucky owner of this one who's just about to take delivery, to spend a lifetime with. And if that is you, then I'm happy to report that your Unleashed E-Type UK's wheels, well, they haven't been reinvented, but they do, indeed, turn that bit more freely. If you've enjoyed watching this PistonHeads video, then please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also tell us what you think of the E-Type down in the comments below.